Have you ever wondered why some of Europe's most beautiful and culturally rich countries have surprisingly low populations? Today, we'll take you on a shocking journey, revealing truths you won't hear elsewhere about countries you thought were thriving. We'll show you the other side of the coin. You won't guess the last one. Let's start. 10. Bulgaria. We begin our journey in Bulgaria, a country with a history spanning over 1,300 years. Despite its rich cultural heritage and natural beauty, Bulgaria has faced an alarming demographic decline. Since 1989, its population has dropped from nearly 9 million to about 6.9 million today, a reduction of over 20%. The fall of communism brought abrupt economic changes. The transition to a market economy led to high unemployment and a decline in living standards. As a result, millions of Bulgarians, especially young and educated individuals, emigrated to countries like Germany, Spain, and the UK. According to Eurostat, Bulgaria has one of the EU's highest emigration rates. Additionally, Bulgaria faces one of the world's lowest birth rates, combined with a high mortality rate. An aging population and a life expectancy of around 74 years, one of the EU's lowest, worsen the issue. Rural areas are particularly hard hit, with entire villages abandoned and schools and hospitals closing due to dwindling residents. The lack of infrastructure and economic opportunities in these areas pushes people to cities or abroad. The combination of emigration, low birth rates, and high mortality has made Bulgaria one of the fastest shrinking countries globally. The government has tried to address this crisis with policies like financial incentives for families and programs to lure back the Bulgarian diaspora. However, these efforts have had limited success. Foreign direct investment and tech sector growth in cities like Sofia have created jobs, but not enough to reverse the trend. Bulgaria also faces challenges in its healthcare and pension systems as an aging population strains resources. 9. Latvia. A Baltic gem with dense forests and a stunning coastline, Latvia has seen its population shrink from 2.7 million in 1990 to about 1.9 million today, a nearly 30% loss in just over 3 decades. Joining the EU in 2004 enabled labor mobility, and many Latvians seized opportunities for better wages and living conditions in countries like the UK, Ireland, and Germany. An estimated 20% of Latvia's workforce has emigrated since EU accession. Latvia also grapples with a fertility rate of about 1.6 children per woman, below the generational replacement level of 2.1. The 2008 global financial crisis hit hard, spiking unemployment and accelerating emigration. Rural areas and small towns have faced depopulation, leading to closed public services and declining local economies. The mix of mass emigration and low birth rates raises serious concerns about Latvia's demographic and cultural sustainability. The government has introduced tax incentives for large families and programs to encourage immigrant return, alongside efforts to attract foreign talent, especially in Riga's emerging tech sector. However, language barriers and cultural integration remain challenges. Ethnic tensions between Latvians and the 25% Russian minority affect social cohesion and influence migration decisions. 8. Portugal. Known for its maritime legacy and vibrant culture, Portugal hides a silent but persistent issue: depopulation, especially in its interior regions. Since the 1960s, millions of Portuguese have emigrated to France, Luxembourg, and Brazil for better economic prospects. While urban areas like Lisbon and Porto have grown, rural regions have seen drastic population declines. According to Portugal's National Statistics Institute, over 40% of municipalities lost population between 2011 and 2021. Portugal's birth rate is among Europe's lowest, at about 1.4 children per woman, and 22% of the population is over 65, driving natural population decline. The government has launched programs like the National Program for Territorial Cohesion to attract investment and improve rural infrastructure. Flexible immigration policies, including the Golden Visa for investors and retirees, have drawn some newcomers, particularly from Europe and Asia. A growing movement of young entrepreneurs is also returning to rural areas for sustainable agriculture and tourism projects. However, experts stress the need for a holistic approach to create sustainable economic opportunities to halt rural depopulation. Without stronger action, Portugal risks challenges in preserving its cultural heritage and maintaining economic vitality nationwide. 7. Russia. Russia, the world's largest country by area, has a population of about 146 million, but an extremely low density due to its vast expanse. Siberia and the Russian Far East cover over 75% of the territory, but house less than 25% of the population. Harsh climate, temperatures dropping below under 50 degrees in winter, makes life challenging. Sparse infrastructure, basic services, and job opportunities deter settlement. Post-Soviet industrial collapse left many areas abandoned, creating ghost cities. Russia also faces low birth rates and high mortality, especially among working-age men, due to public health issues like alcoholism and cardiovascular diseases, lowering life expectancy. Government policies to boost internal migration and birth rates, like the Far Eastern Hectare program offering free land, have seen limited success due to the region's hostility. Immigration from Central Asia has offset some urban population decline, but social and ethnic tensions complicate integration. Infrastructure investments in strategic areas continue, but the scale of repopulating vast inhospitable regions remains daunting. Geographic, climatic, and socioeconomic factors make reversing depopulation a monumental task. 6. Estonia. Estonia, blending mystic forests with a digitally advanced society, has about 1.3 million people, making it one of Europe's least populated countries. Over 50% of its territory is forested or protected, limiting urban expansion. After regaining independence in 1991, Estonia saw significant emigration, with young professionals seeking opportunities in Scandinavia and other EU nations. The birth rate, around 1.6 children per woman, is low, and rural areas struggle with limited services and jobs, driving migration to Tallinn or abroad. Estonia's e-residency program boosts its tech hub status, but doesn't increase resident population. Efforts to integrate the 25% Russian minority aim to strengthen social cohesion, but population growth remains elusive due to natural and migratory declines. 5. Sweden. Renowned for stunning landscapes and high living standards, Sweden has about 10.4 million people across a vast area, with low density, especially in the north, which covers 60% of the territory but holds only 12% of the population. Harsh northern winters limit economic activity, concentrating the economy in southern cities like Stockholm, Gothenburg, and Malmö. Internal migration from north to south seeks better jobs and education, while immigrants and refugees settle in urban areas, leaving rural regions sparse. Government programs invest in northern infrastructure, renewable energy, and sustainable mining, with projects like the Northern Innovation Hub targeting cities like Luleå and Umeå. Remote work offers potential, and the indigenous Sami play a key role in cultural and sustainable development. However, industrial expansion raises environmental concerns in the fragile Arctic ecosystem. Balancing regional development with environmental and social commitments is critical for Sweden's northern population challenges. 4. Finland. Finland, the land of 1,000 lakes and northern lights, has about 5.5 million people with low density, especially in northern Lapland. Extreme conditions, winters over 6 months and temperatures below 30 degrees, make life tough. Most Finns live in southern cities like Helsinki, Espoo, and Tampere. Internal migration depopulates rural and northern areas, and a 2020 birth rate of 1.37 children per woman, among Europe's lowest, raises workforce and service sustainability concerns. An aging population, over 21% above 65, strains welfare and pensions. Finland invests in tech and automation, with its world-class education system adapting to AI and renewable energy needs. Programs like Talent Boost attract foreign professionals, but language and climate pose barriers. Finland's carbon-neutral 2035 goal shapes urban and regional planning, but balancing growth with nature preservation remains complex. 3. Slovakia. A Central European nation with rich history and mountainous landscapes, Slovakia has about 5.4 million people but faces demographic challenges. Eastern and southern regions see significant emigration due to lower wages and fewer jobs compared to Western Slovakia or neighbors like Austria and the Czech Republic. About 10% of Slovaks live and work abroad, per World Bank data. Economic disparities drive rural depopulation, with Bratislava and western cities dominating industry. Rural areas lack investment, infrastructure, and services, eroding community life. The birth rate, around 1.5 children per woman, and emigration age the population. Integrating the 9% Romani minority, often marginalized, is a further challenge. Government programs offer tax incentives and EU funds to boost rural economies, but impact is limited. Steady economic growth and a skilled workforce offer hope, but balancing development and social cohesion is key. 2. Liechtenstein. A tiny principality nestled between Switzerland and Austria, Liechtenstein spans just 160 kilometers with about 38,000 residents, making it one of Europe's smallest and least populated countries. Its alpine terrain limits urban expansion. Despite its size, Liechtenstein is an economic powerhouse with high GDP per capita, driven by finance, manufacturing, and tourism. Strict immigration and naturalization policies keep population stable, preserving cultural identity and environmental balance. Over half its workforce commutes from Austria, Switzerland, and Germany, maintaining productivity without growing residency. Liechtenstein's banking sector, reformed for transparency, bolsters its financial hub status. Bilingual education, German and English, aligns with global standards, and collaboration with neighboring academic institutions ensures competitiveness. Space constraints and ecological priorities cap population growth. 1. Iceland. Topping the list is Iceland, a North Atlantic island of volcanic landscapes, geysers, and glaciers. With about 366,000 people and a density of 3 inhabitants per square kilometer, it's one of the world's least densely populated nations. Much of the interior is uninhabitable, with lava deserts, mountains, and glaciers, plus frequent volcanic activity and earthquakes. Most residents live in Reykjavik and coastal communities. The economy, reliant on fishing and tourism, lacks diversity to support significant population growth. Iceland's remote location hinders trade and migration. Despite booming tourism, permanent residency hasn't risen much. The birth rate, around 1.7 children per woman, is high for Europe, but insufficient for substantial growth. Immigration, mainly from Europe, adds diversity, but doesn't shift density. Iceland struggles to sustain its economy and social services with a small, scattered population. If this journey through Europe's least populated nations and their reasons intrigued you, give it a like and subscribe for more fascinating content. Thanks for joining us on this discovery.